Hello everyone, my name is Becca and welcome to Yellow Cat Studios. For today's video, I have some more DIYs for you. These are cottagecore DIYs. So we have some pressed leaf bookmarks or window wall decorations, a couple easy DIY sketchbooks, an apron, and my personal favorite, an Animal Crossing mushroom wreath. So let's get started. So first up, we've got some pressed leaf bookmarks. So I have this self-adhesive laminating sheet from the dollar store and some pressed leaves and flowers that I've had pressed for a little while now. So first I've picked my leaves and I'm just arranging them how I want the bookmark to be. I'm also going to cut off the stems just to get rid of some of the bulk. Next, I'm just going to cut a strip of the self-laminating sheets. And then put the leaves in and laminate them based on the instructions. This one's really simple. You just place whatever you're laminating on the non-sticky side and then smooth the sticky side on top. Now this won't go completely flat just because the leaves themselves are not completely flat, but do the best you can. There will be air bubbles, but that's okay. And then trim the edges, but don't get too close. And that's it. Now these can be used for bookmarks or even placed in windows or on the wall for decoration. So next up we have super easy DIY sketchbooks. So I have this big sketchbook that I don't use because I don't do projects on that scale. So I've taken a few sheets and cut them into 4s. So now I have 2 sets of 8 pages. For this project you're also going to need a hole punch and some twine or string or whatever you want to use to kind of bind your sketchbook. First, I'm trimming down some of the uneven edges, and then I'm hole punching my first page, and I'm using this to mark my other pages so I can get it relatively lined up, because my hole punch will not punch through very many of these pages at once. For the first method, I am threading some twine through the top hole in each sheet, and I'm just going to tie this off kind of like a 3-ring binder, and I'm going to do that for each hole. For the second method, I'm kind of sewing the pages together with my twine. So I'm going down through the top hole, up through the middle, down through the bottom, and back up on the other side. And I also left a little loop at the top of this one just to give it a little handle. I thought it was cute. And I also used super glue on the knots to make sure that they don't come undone, but you can skip this step if you'd like. And that's it, and you have some really easy DIY sketchbooks. Next up, I'm going to be making an apron. So I have this leftover floral fabric, and I'm just measuring down how long I want the apron to be. I cut mine about 9.5 inches long. And then I folded it in half and cut the corners off so that it was curved at the bottom. So I have hemmed the top edge and I'm going to do a gathering stitch. So for this, you need to do a straight stitch on your longest stitch length. You grab one of your threads, top or bottom, and pull the fabric along while holding onto the thread so that it gathers. Before you start gathering, make sure you tie off your opposite end that you're not holding onto, gathered to your desired width, and then tie off your other end. Next, I've hemmed the rest of the apron, so I have no raw edges showing. I wanted to add some pockets, so I'm doing one in the same fabric as the apron and one in a green checkered pattern. I cut both of these to 6 by 7 inches, I believe. And to make the pockets, I've hemmed the top edge and then folded the remaining 3 edges over, pinned them, and then pinned it to the apron. So I hem them and sew them to the apron at the same time. And instead of backstitching, I use a seam ripper to pull both of my top and bottom thread to the inside of the garment and tie them together on the inside. Last but not least, you need something to tie your apron on. I am using this leftover lace, and I tried using my machine. I don't know why, but it did not want to sew through all of this fabric. So I got about halfway through and ended up hand stitching the rest of it. And this is how it turned out. I think it looks really cute and I'm excited to wear this when I'm gardening this summer. For the Animal Crossing wreath, I have this twig wreath from Michaels and some styrofoam balls that I'm going to use to kind of carve out the mushrooms for the wreath. It's a bit hard to explain, but for the light colored mushrooms, I'm taking my bigger styrofoam balls and I'm cutting them just over halfway to get the size and shape that I need. Next, I'm making the flat, darker brown mushrooms, and I'm actually using the leftovers from the white mushrooms for some of these because it's the flatter, thin shape that I need. And I'm just using my scissors to kind of carve out the middle a little bit to give them an indent in the middle. Then I'm taking my small styrofoam balls and carving them into a triangular shape. And I'm taking some sandpaper to sand down the shape even more and smooth them out. And I'm also using the sandpaper for the brown mushrooms to hollow out and smooth out the middle. And yes, this did make a lot of mess. I didn't have any recorded of me cutting the red mushrooms, so I just took my bigger styrofoam balls and cut them in half for these ones. And now it's time to paint them all. While my mushrooms are drying, I'm going to cut out some of the leaves out of this brown foam. I could not for the life of me find my green foam, so I'm using brown and I will paint it green. Now I can start putting everything on my wreath. I'm starting with some moss and making a mess in the process. And I'm using crazy glue to glue all of the mushrooms on. If you are doing this, please be careful. Getting crazy glue on your fingers is really not fun. I also decided to leave off one of the yellow mushrooms because mine was getting a little bit crowded. I tied some twine to the top of it so I could hang it up, and we are all done. I absolutely adore this wreath and I love having it on my wall. Those are all the DIYs and crafts that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite. Give this video a like if you enjoyed and subscribe for more DIY and cosplay content. I hope you have a good day, afternoon, evening, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!